The night sky above Bayville was clear, the stars twinkling in silent brilliance, but among them, a single streak of golden light tore across the heavens, like a comet crashing toward Earth. At the Xavier Institute, alarms blared. Professor Xavier's eyes snapped open as he sat in his study, immediately sensing the presence of something different, something powerful. In the underground levels of the mansion, Scott Summers, better known as Cyclops, rushed toward the control room, his visor already glowing faintly. "Jean, what the hell is going on?" he called out as he entered. Jean Grey stood in front of the main screen, eyes narrowed as she analyzed the data. "Something just crash-landed outside Bayville," she muttered. "The energy reading is off the charts. It's not a mutant, but it's not normal either." Wolverine, arms crossed, let out a grunt. "Smells like trouble." Xavier's voice came through the intercom. "Scott, Jean, take Rogue with you. I want you three to investigate." Scott frowned but nodded. "Got it, Professor. Let's move." The wind was still as they reached the forest's edge. The crater was massive, steam hissing from the ground. Trees were uprooted, and a faint golden glow pulsed from the impact site. And in the center of it all, a man lay unconscious. Scott tensed, stepping forward cautiously. The guy had spiky jet black hair, an orange martial arts gi, and looked way too relaxed for someone who had just fallen from the sky. "Is he dead?" Rogue asked, taking a step closer. The moment she did, his eyes snapped open. A rush of energy exploded outward. The force sent Scott and Jean stumbling back, but Rogue froze as the stranger's intense black eyes locked onto hers. Then, he smiled. "Hey," he said cheerfully, rubbing the back of his head. "Where am I?" Scott aimed his hand at him. "Who the hell are you?" The man sat up, completely unfazed. Good question. I think my name's Goku?" He looked around, blinking in confusion. "Yeah, that sounds right." Jean placed a hand on her temple, trying to scan his mind, only to recoil. His energy, it was overwhelming. Wolverine's instincts had been right. This guy was trouble. Goku sat cross-legged on the X-Jet, happily munching on a protein bar Rogue had given him. "Man, this is pretty good. Got any more?" Scott, sitting across from him with his arms crossed, let out a frustrated sigh. "We're bringing you back to the mansion so the professor can figure out what you are," he said. "Until then, don't get too comfortable." Jean was still shaken from earlier. She had tried reading Goku's mind multiple times on the way back, but every attempt felt like staring into a sun. His energy was unlike anything she had ever encountered. Rogue, sitting next to Goku, couldn't help but stare. This guy had fallen from the sky. He had shrugged off Scott's attitude like it was nothing, and despite his overwhelming power, he acted like a goofy, harmless idiot. She didn't buy it. At the Xavier Institute, the team led Goku inside. The other X-Men were waiting, curiosity and concern written across their faces. "Whoa," Kitty Pryde whispered. "Who's the new guy? Some kind of amnesiac?" Scott muttered. "If he's a mutant, he's the most powerful one we've ever seen." Professor Xavier rolled his wheelchair forward, his calm gaze studying Goku. "Welcome," he said. "I'm Charles Xavier. Do you remember anything about yourself?" Goku scratched his head. "Not much, just my name, and that I really love food." "That makes two of us," said a voice from the back. It was Pietro Maximoff, smirking. "Maybe he's my long-lost twin." Xavier ignored the remark. "Would you mind if I examine your mind, Goku?" "Sure." Goku grinned. "Go ahead." Jean swallowed hard. "Professor, be careful." Xavier placed his fingers to his temple, and reached out. Immediately, his mind was assaulted by a vision. A world beyond Earth. A battle between titans. A warrior with golden hair screaming as he clashed with a monstrous foe. A planet exploding. Xavier pulled back, gasping. His hands trembled. "You are not a mutant," he said slowly. "Not even from this world." Silence filled the room. Scott stiffened. "Then what the hell is he?" Xavier's voice was grave. "He's something beyond us, and if what I just saw is any indication," he turned to Goku, who was still smiling cluelessly. "His power is limitless." Down in the underground training area, Wolverine wasn't convinced. "Let's test that theory," he growled, stepping onto the mat. "Come on, big guy. Let's see what you got." Goku grinned, cracking his knuckles. "All right, sounds fun." Logan lunged, claws out. Goku vanished, reappearing behind him in an instant. "Huh?" Before Wolverine could react, Goku lightly tapped him on the back. Boom! Logan was sent flying across the room, smashing into the far wall. The X-Men stared in shock. Wolverine groaned, stumbling up. He wasn't hurt, his healing factor took care of that, but he had never been tossed around so easily. Goku scratched his head. "Oops, I was trying to go easy on ya." Rogue smirked. Well, I'll be damned. Guess we got ourselves a new heavyweight champ. The news of Goku's arrival spread fast. Too fast. At a secluded hideout on the outskirts of Bayville, Mystique stood before her team, the Brotherhood of Mutants. This new arrival is powerful, she said, her piercing yellow eyes scanning the room. Powerful enough to shift the balance. Pietro, Quicksilver, leaned back against the wall, smirking. Yeah? So what? We invite him over for pizza, and hope he ditches the ex-geeks. Mystique's gaze hardened. If he's not a mutant, then he has no real reason to fight for Charles Xavier. And if we can't recruit him, her voice darkened, then we eliminate him before he becomes a threat. At the Xavier Institute, Goku was settling in. Well, sort of. Rogue found him outside, sitting cross-legged in the yard, eyes closed. She frowned. You meditatin' or nappin'? Goku opened one eye, grinning. Both, she huffed, sitting down beside him. You're weird, you know that? Goku laughed. People tell me that a lot. Rogue hesitated before glancing at him. So, what's your deal? If you ain't a mutant, what are you? Goku's smile faded slightly. I don't really know, I feel like I should. But my memory's all fuzzy. She studied him. His ridiculous power, the way he fought without hesitation, the cheerful innocence that didn't match someone so strong. It didn't add up. Before she could question him further, a sonic boom echoed through the yard. Boom! A blur shot toward them at breakneck speed. Rogue barely had time to react before a gust of wind knocked her off her feet. Goku caught her effortlessly. Quicksilver skidded to a halt nearby, smirking. Wow, you're fast. I like that. Goku blinked. Wah, thanks? Name's Pietro. But you can call me Quicksilver. Pietro gestured behind him. I roll with the Brotherhood. You ever get tired of the ex-doofuses, you should come hang with us. Rogue scoffed. Oh please. Pietro ignored her, still grinning. Come on, big guy. You know the X-Men are lame. You really want to waste your time with them? Goku tilted his head. I dunno. They seem nice. Pietro sighed. Alright, guess we do this the fun way. In an instant, he was gone. Then a rush of motion. He reappeared behind Rogue, shoving her forward. Goku's eyes flashed. He caught her again before she hit the ground. His cheerful expression vanished. That wasn't very nice, he said. Pietro chuckled. Yeah? What are you gonna do about it? Goku moved. To the untrained eye, he disappeared, but in reality, he just matched Pietro's speed. Pietro's smirk faltered. Wait, what? Goku flicked his forehead. Boom! Quicksilver went flying across the yard, crashing into a tree. Rogue's mouth fell open. Holy! Pietro groaned, peeling himself out of the tree trunk. Okay, oh. Goku dusted off his hands. I don't think I like you very much. Pietro scowled, but before he could retaliate, a new voice spoke up. Enough. From the shadows, a figure stepped forward. Mystique. Well, she murmured, eyes scanning Goku. You're full of surprises. Goku frowned. Who are you? Mystique, she answered smoothly. And I came to offer you something better than what Xavier's selling. Rogue stepped in front of Goku, scowling. Forget it, Mystique. He ain't joinin' the Brotherhood. Mystique smirked. Why don't we let him decide? She lunged, but the moment she did, Goku vanished. When he reappeared, he was standing directly behind her. Mystique stiffened. Goku tilted his head. You move like Wolverine, but not as fast. Mystique's eyes narrowed. She hadn't even seen him move. This wasn't a fight she could win. Have it your way, she muttered, stepping back. This isn't over. She grabbed Pietro and disappeared into the shadows. Rogue turned to Goku. You okay? Goku smiled. Yup, that was kinda fun. She huffed. You are way too happy for a guy who just got ambushed. Goku stretched. I dunno. You guys are nice. Those other guys? Not so much. Rogue folded her arms. So that means you're stayin'? Goku nodded. Guess so. For some reason, Rogue found herself relieved at his answer. The next morning, Rogue stepped outside, expecting to see the usual mansion scenery, peaceful, quiet, the occasional danger room session in progress. Instead, she saw Goku floating cross-legged in the air, completely still, eyes closed. You meditatin' again? She asked, raising an eyebrow. Goku cracked one eye open and grinned. Kinda. I'm trying to remember stuff, but mostly, I'm just thinking about breakfast. Rogue rolled her eyes. You know, you're the strongest guy here, but I swear, you got the attention span of a toddler. Goku laughed. That's what my wife used to say. The moment the words left his mouth, he paused. Rogue stiffened. You're what? Goku blinked. Wait, that just kinda came out, huh? His expression became serious, something she wasn't used to seeing. He placed a hand on his chin, deep in thought. Yeah, I think I had a wife. A family. His brows furrowed. But, I can't remember them. Rogue wasn't sure why that bothered her so much. She folded her arms. Well, guess that means you were hitched back in your world. Goku scratched his head. I guess. But if I can't remember them, does it really count? Something about the way he said it made Rogue's stomach twist. Before she could think too much on it, Logan's voice cut through the air. Alright, slackers. Get your butts to the training room. Danger room. Training session. Logan cracked his knuckles. Alright. Q-Ball wants us to see what this big guy can really do. Cyclops crossed his arms. We already saw what he did to Quicksilver. Logan ignored him. Goku, you up for a spar? Goku perked up. Really? Awesome. Logan smirked. Don't get cocky, bub. I don't go easy. The second the simulation started, Logan charged. His claws extended, slashing forward. But Goku was already gone. Logan's eyes widened. Where the hell? Behind, yeah. Before he could react, a single flick to the back sent Logan crashing into the danger room wall. Jean gasped. Cyclops tensed. Rogue just smirked. Well damn. Logan groaned, pushing himself up. Son of a. Goku rubbed the back of his head. Oops. You okay? Logan huffed. He wasn't mad, he was impressed. Alright, you win that round. Cyclops wasn't convinced. Okay, but raw strength isn't everything. Let's see if he can handle an actual scenario. He pressed a button. The danger room shifted. Suddenly, the walls changed, morphing into a war zone. Sentinel drones descended from the sky, laser eyes glowing. Goku blinked. Huh. Neat. The Sentinels opened fire. Jean threw up a telekinetic shield. Cyclops fired back. Rogue leaped into cover, and Logan charged headfirst. Goku? Goku just stood there. One of the Sentinel lasers shot straight for him, and hit him directly in the chest. Jean gasped. Goku. The dust cleared. Goku was completely unharmed. In fact, he looked bored. Huh. That kinda tickled. Rogue gawked. Are you freaking kidding me? Goku disappeared. One moment he was standing still, the next, he was in the air, face to face with the Sentinel. Cool robot, he said. Then, he punched straight through it. The Sentinel exploded. The rest of the drones turned to attack. But it didn't matter. Goku tore through them all like paper. By the time the simulation ended, the danger room was filled with smoking wreckage. Silence. Scott stared. Jean was speechless. Logan let out a low whistle. Rogue? She just shook her head and smirked. Yeah, I think we found our new heavyweight champ. A storm brewed over Bayville. Deep beneath an abandoned facility, Magneto stood in silence, watching the surveillance footage projected before him. The video showed the X-Men's latest training session. More specifically, it showed Goku single-handedly tearing through Sentinel drones without breaking a sweat. A smirk tugged at Magneto's lips. Fascinating. Mystique stood beside him, arms crossed. The boy isn't a mutant. He doesn't belong to Charles's dream. Nor does he belong to the humans, Magneto mused. Yet Xavier keeps him close. Mystique's gaze narrowed. If we can't recruit him, he'll become a problem. Magneto's smirk widened. Oh, I wouldn't be so sure about that. Xavier Institute. Late evening. Rogue sighed as she walked through the halls of the mansion, arms crossed. Ever since Goku had arrived, the entire balance of the X-Men had shifted. Even Scott, who usually acted like he had a stick up his ass, was visibly unsettled by how powerful their new friend was. And her? She wasn't sure what bothered her more. The fact that Goku was practically untouchable, or the fact that, for once, she wanted to be the one who could touch him. Before she could entertain that stupid thought any further, she heard voices coming from outside. Curious, she stepped onto the mansion balcony, and her breath caught in her throat. Magneto, standing there, calm as ever, with Goku standing opposite him in the garden. Her heart dropped. Down in the garden, Goku tilted his head. You're that magnet guy everyone keeps talking about, right? Magneto chuckled. It's Magneto. But yes, that would be me. He stepped forward, hands behind his back. I've come to offer you something, son Goku. Goku blinked. My name's just Goku. Magneto's smile didn't waver. Of course. Tell me, have the X-Men explained their purpose to you? Goku scratched his head. Kinda. Magneto chuckled. I suspected as much. Let me be direct then. He gestured outward. This world does not belong to humans. Mutants are the next stage of evolution. And you, my boy, you are something even greater. Goku frowned. I dunno about that. I just like fighting strong guys. Magneto's smirk deepened. And tell me, have you found a worthy opponent among the X-Men? Goku paused. For the first time, he hesitated. Magneto took that as confirmation. I can give you that, he said smoothly. The Brotherhood fights for a world where strength decides one's place. Not rules. Not weakness. Power. Goku stared at him, considering. Up on the balcony. Rogue held her breath. Don't do it, Goku. Don't be an idiot. After a long silence, Goku finally spoke. You know, he said, scratching his chin. I don't think I like you very much. Magneto's expression didn't change. Oh, Goku folded his arms. Yeah, you sound like those guys who think they're strong just 'cause they got a cool speech. But real strength? He grinned. Real strength doesn't need all that talk. Rogue let out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. Magneto sighed, shaking his head. That's disappointing. Then, he struck. A metal statue from the garden ripped free from the ground, launching at Goku like a missile. Goku blinked. Huh? Then, he flicked it. Boom! The statue shattered into 1,000 pieces. Magneto's eyes narrowed. Before he could try again, Goku appeared right in front of him. I don't think I like guys who throw things at me either. Magneto reacted just in time to throw up a magnetic shield. Just before Goku flicked him on the forehead. Even with the shield, the force sent Magneto flying back several feet, skidding to a stop. He grunted, looking up, only to find Goku already back in the same spot, smiling. That was fun, Goku said cheerfully. Wanna go again? Magneto rose slowly, adjusting his cape. No, he said, calm but intrigued. I believe I've seen enough. He hovered into the air. This will not be the last time we speak, Son Goku. With that, he vanished into the night. Back on the balcony, Rogue let out a sigh of relief. She knew Goku was dumb, but at least he wasn't dumb enough to fall for Magneto's nonsense. Then, to her horror, he turned around and looked straight at her. She tensed. Did he? Hey, Rogue! He called up. Wanna get something to eat? She blinked. What? I'm hungry. He grinned. And I think I like talking to you. Rogue didn't know what to do with that information. So, naturally, she just scowled. You are the most frustrating person I've ever met. Goku laughed. Aw, come on. Let's go. Rogue sighed. Fine, but you're paying. The next day, the X-Men were still reeling from Goku's encounter with Magneto. Scott was the most vocal about it. You let him talk to Magneto alone, he snapped, pacing in front of Rogue, Jean, and Logan. Rogue crossed her arms. First off, I didn't let him do anything. The guy don't listen to nobody. Jean sighed. Still, Magneto doesn't usually make offers unless he sees potential. Logan grunted. What's the big deal? The kid ain't switching sides. Scott scowled. Yet. Aw, come on, Goku said, appearing in the doorway. That old guy was kinda cool. But, like, bad cool. Scott pinched the bridge of his nose. Why are you like this? Goku shrugged. Dunno. Logan smirked. You know, Slim, if ya got so many complaints, why not take it to the danger room? Scott froze. Rogue perked up. Whoa. Now this I wanna see. Scott gritted his teeth. Fine. Danger room. Training session. The room was set for a one-on-one sparring match. Goku stood on one side of the metallic battlefield, stretching lazily. Scott stood on the other, fists clenched. His visor glowed faintly. Jean and Rogue watched from the control booth. You think this is a good idea? Jean asked. Rogue smirked. Nah, but it's gonna be real fun to watch. The simulation started. Scott didn't hesitate. He fired a beam straight at Goku. It hit dead on. Dust exploded outward. Jean tensed. Rogue leaned forward. Scott exhaled, adjusting his visor. That's... Whoa! That tingled. Scott's stomach dropped. The dust cleared. Goku stood there, completely unharmed. Man, he grinned, stretching. That was kinda cool. Do it again? Scott fired again. Stronger. Goku yawned, sidestepped the blast without looking. Scott clenched his teeth. Fine. Full power. He braced himself, then fired a massive optic blast, powerful enough to destroy a sentinel in one hit. It roared toward Goku, who stuck out his palm and caught it. Scott's jaw dropped. Whoa, Goku murmured, inspecting the beam in his hand. This is kinda cool. Then, he flicked it back. Scott's brain barely had time to register what was happening before his own attack slammed into him, sending him flying across the battlefield. He crashed into the far wall. Silence. Jean gasped. Rogue lost it. Oh my god. He just Uno reversed your ass. Scott groaned from the wreckage. Shut up. The training session was cut short. Scott stormed out of the danger room, fuming. Rogue, still grinning, leaned against the wall. Aw, don't be too mad, Suga. It was kinda funny. Scott shot her a glare. Jean placed a hand on his shoulder. Scott, you knew he was strong. Scott clenched his fists. It's not just that. He doesn't take anything seriously. Rogue's smirk faded slightly. Meanwhile, Goku was looking down at his hands, frowning. Did I do something wrong? Rogue sighed, walking over to him. Nah. Scott's just got that leader complex. Goku scratched his head. Whoa. Should I let him win next time? Rogue snorted. God, no. She hesitated before continuing. But maybe try not to embarrass him too much next time? Goku grinned. I can try. For some reason, Rogue found herself smiling back.